I appreciate Jian Cheng doing the confirm they're dead thing.
Yeah.
I don't care what you have to do. Show me a body. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, this is Lessons, and we are back with another episode of Dao Zu Shi. We come back as we normally do with notes, comments, and a board. Sort of. And let's go ahead and start off with that sort of, where we're testing another version of the board. If you're not watching all of our other reactions, you will not know what the hell is going on, but that is okay. Because we're trying to decide on which version of the board to move forwards with, and that's an important distinction on my half, because I need to focus on which board to spend my time trying to correct errors for and make better and whatnot. Because at the moment, I am trying to make two boards nice, and it's making both boards half as nice as they could be. At the moment, we've got a floating node system for this one, which means I can playfully drag all these characters around as much as I want. But it also means if you get confused about which line's going where, you can just kind of like move them around and see, okay, well, that one's going to that one. Sorry, I haven't cropped the screen enough to show that there is a legend on this side. And of course, you can show labels if that also makes it easy. I'm assuming Lessons continued silence means that he loaded the page just fine and everything's working to the T.
Yeah, I'm just working out, how it works, and
well, you've seen this before. I showed you a test copy of it.
Yeah. I thought it would have been fixed if you're a user, a viewer, not a user.
It would have been, except that I made it not so. Well, for one thing, they removes the quality that I just said that, oh, these lines are in a weird position. Let me just move this one out of the way. Oh, and now I can see. Also, the element of, I thought it'd be fun if people just wanted to play ping pong with these characters that they like so much. Well, because the idea that I was having, and I haven't expressed this yet, if you know the website, which I assume you don't because you don't visit it at all, is we have the watch pages. I've recently added the rankings to the watch pages. So if you're like looking at the playlist of episodes in a specific watch page, you can see the little cross source and go to the rankings, and you can vote on which characters, what tier the characters would be. Well, I was thinking of just putting a button link right up next to that for the board for every specific show. So every watch page has the ranking and the board for the show in it. And I know if you're as stupid as I am, you're probably watching the show and playing ping pong with the characters at the same time. Well, I can bash Lan Zong against Jin Lin all every day. Get out there. Bah.
Ooh, shiny.
But yeah, it's the difference. We have the static one, which is the squares with lines, which I find to be easier to look at. Also, it's easier to do. Then again, I spent more time working on that one than I have this one. And as I said, since I don't know which one is the one to be moving forwards with, I'm spending half the time on both of them. At the moment, what I've got here is everyone with a similar color outline denoting clans. I put a weight to it so they attract towards each other.
Yeah.
So people within the same factions will gravitate towards one another so that they'll be, factionalized areas. That's why everybody of a specific color tends to be around one another. Otherwise, it would just be a mixed mash of all of that. Also, I tried adding a gravity to it to push them apart a little bit so that they weren't all like on top of one another. But of course, you can adjust that. But yeah, this is one of the board options.
It is interactive, I'll give it that much.
Right, I just don't know which is better. Because again, I also don't know what number of people will even look at this stuff.
Well then, we played along with the board, unless you have any board changes, notes.
No, I mean, this was your area for weigh-in.
Well, I told you what I believe would help. And it was rejected, so we move on.
Again, I need input about whether I need to focus on this version of the board or the other version of the board.
I mean, I like it.
Because again,
but I said my piece.
I'm going to be wasting my time coding both until I just figure out which one's the one to go with.
In the meantime, that's a behind the things thing. We go to notes, which are not many, but here we are. Season 7 episodes, season 2. I don't know why I said season 7. It only has 3 seasons. Season 2, Episode 7, Fight at Night. This is what happens when trying to do the right thing goes horribly wrong. But he, wuxian, is not exclusively at fault, since it was Jin Guashan's machinations as well as Spice Masters that led to this whole thing in the first place.
Well, we don't know who that is yet.
Well, we know that he exists.
We know that he exists in the present. We don't know who the hell he was in the past. I mean, conceivably, he's the guy wearing the Jin colors who does the thing. Also, conceivably, the one who shouts, Wen Ning is going crazy, when Wen Ning didn't do anything yet.
Yeah. So they cancel the spell and the containment, and then...
Right. I just mean, conceivably, that's the only clue to who the Spy Master is, if that is the Spy Master, and not just an unrelated party or the masked person who reported to the Spy Master in the present.
Yeah.
Again, it's too open, the possibilities of who that person was, to even make a guess. It's kind of funny, though, because it seems like your note starts at Nevernight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is halfway through the episode.
Well, I do go back, because I'm talking about the whole thing at the very beginning, right? Because they're discussing, and all of this was he was trying to help the survivors of the Wen, right? The people who actually helped him the last time, and it went horribly wrong.
Well, my notes start at Nevernight, because as I was about to tell you before we start recording, then decided to hold off to here. Most of the episode for me fell on emotional grounds without anything to investigate around them. And as I've stated many times before, I don't really have that much to say when things are just emotional, right? So I can have a weigh in if you bring in stuff about it, but otherwise it's not like I was going to write a note like, this was sad. Sad things are sad. So kind of leave it there. So as I just said, my notes start from Nevernight onwards, and I don't have that many notes, so apologies. I feel like everyone forgot how to fly at some point. We can't let Wei Ying leave alive. He's on top of a building, and everyone rushes at him on the ground with their swords out. Swords they could otherwise be riding atop of to fly up to him.
Not very smart. But then again, they could have been, I guess, shot down from the flying swords.
By who?
Coming flying, it's just by wuxian. It's like just does a thing and fall out of the sky. And
but he wasn't doing anything though.
Not yet, because they didn't come out at him with flying
swords. Also, they're rushing at him anyway, so they're not clearly concerned about getting, because they could do that. You could do that to them on the ground too. I mean, we saw what happened to Wen Chao and Wen other guy, Core Crusher. We saw what happened to them on the ground. So if your concern is that, better to fall on your sword than get your arms twisted into a black hole.
My next note. The pin that Wen Qin used on Wuxian looks similar to the pins that Wuxian extracted from Wen Ning's head in the present.
They're not, though. I thought the same thing. I didn't write a note about it because I was like, this is ridiculous. She's using like acupuncture needles. The things that Wen Ning has in his head are like fucking like the difference between say a railroad spike and a stake, a wooden stake, is the difference, I would say, between an acupuncture needle and whatever the fuck came out of Wen Ning's head. Because those things were massive. If she had poked him, like, oh, I can solve this, he'd be like, dead. Like, he got himself what do you call it?
Pressure point.
No, that's what she did. I'm not saying that's what she did. I'm saying if he got that with one of the giant ones that Wen Ning had, he would have gotten lobotomy. Yeah, I couldn't think of the word. I was about to go for. Sorry. The thing that comes to my head when I think about lobotomies is, you ever see Day 6? Was it Day 5? It's either Day 5 or Day 6 is the name of the thing.
Just didn't ring a bell, no.
It was a web series, television show, essentially, back when that was rare, about an apocalypse, which is everyone who falls asleep dies. The act of falling asleep kills you. And it's everyone staying awake as long as they possibly can. And it starts on Day 5. So everybody is as mental as you can be after you burn through all the hard drugs. And, like in season 2, because that's how far the show goes, they get to an army base, it's an Air Force base, which has come up with a pretty unique solution to the sleep problem. which is forced lobotomies.
Oh,
And it's done by the people who've already had lobotomies, so it's not going great. There's a good chance you're not surviving this. Which, well, I mean, it's basically they put like a little spike up behind the eyeball and just.
Ugh.
And apparently, I mean, yeah, everyone's fucking crazy. I think it's the guy who looks like Busey's son is the commander of the base. No, they cover a lot of shit in that show. Again, people who try and like cutting and like putting glass into their arms and shit like that to keep themselves awake. And then there's a guy who had previously gotten basically a death sentence. He had where you can't sleep, like deadly inability to sleep. They give him like 6 months, and now he's like the superhero of this specific apocalypse.
Yeah.
Y'all are gonna be dead for a long time before I die from this. Anyway, that's always the first thing that comes to my head. Well, that and the actual history of how horrible lobotomies actually are. It's basically mad science.
Yep.
The giant red circle that messes with Wen Ning and the talisman seems to be the same that was at the burial mounds, but the only people on screen that we've seen see that are Lanzan, Jiansheng, and the Wen clan people. So unless the betrayal is coming from inside the house, I have no real guesses as to who is doing this. I mean, unless the circle isn't something Wei Ying created, but another one of those things from 1,000 years ago that he is reusing. In which case, it's entirely possible that there are many existing Diabolists in seclusion or hiding amongst the clans that are coming out of the woodwork to enact a plan involving Wei Ying, the only one using their powers in the open. We can do this thing because we have a scapegoat now. Now that somebody's using our powers out in the open, we can manipulate them with the powers that we already know.
I have note about that, but I'll get to it in a moment. And Jing Guangshan just proved that he was never about just the Wen clan survivors or their leaders. He always wanted the Stygian Tiger amulet for himself. But it seems that whoever suggested gathering Nevernight is the real villain behind all this and set everything up as a trap for wuxian and the rest of the clans. Perhaps Spy Master was a former Wen clan wanting to take advantage of the fall of his clan. Vengeance. Take vengeance. For the fall of his clan, or it's an unrelated third party trying to fill the power vacuum.
Well, when you were looking at the board, you didn't mention the other person who's just free-floating away from everybody else.
Yeah, but that doesn't have a name, does it?
It wouldn't be on the board if it didn't have a name. That's a requirement of being on the board. Also, I wouldn't call them an it, even though we know they're male. We also know they're pretty important.
No, that was my notes.
Okay, I thought you were going to follow me on that one, but you didn't.
Yeah, no, I was trying to look for the board, but it's going to take a while.
Take a while. Literally the last link on the Discord. Literally the last thing that was it would take a while to find that board.
Xiao Shengyan?
Who?
Xiao Shengyan, which is
No, I said off by themselves.
By themselves.
I guess that's also a different thing about the boards. This system is wherever I drag shit around, my board will look completely different from yours. So I can't look at the bottom here. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, your board will be completely different. If you're lost and can't find someone, I can't help you.
You mean Wen Mao?
Yeah. Your note was just about a Wen person wanting to get vengeance. You didn't mention the one Wen clan member whose status unknown.
Yeah.
I mean, we have no clue if Gaosheng didn't set up the place to be here.
Yeah. I mean, he could have, but I suspect that this was more effective, not only as a way of killing wuxian, but also to kill or weaken as much of the other clans as possible.
I mean, from the element that we saw from the Wen Ning flashback, that he gets approached by a Lan clan member, Jin Gaosheng, and somebody else whose name is escaping me. So it's 3 different clans, and it looks like it's happening at Nevernight, so probably right after this scene, I imagine. Well, I mean, if it is right after this scene, it means that we're about to see Wei Ying die? No, that can't be right. It can't be right, because the burial mounds haven't burnt yet. And we know that he dies after that. And we know that apparently, I believe they've said that Wen Ning was supposed to have been cremated or whatever after Wei Ying dies.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't, unless we do a bunch of time jumps, which we could. We've done that plenty of times in the show.
I mean, Wei Ying could be captured again, taken somewhere else. Then you have the destruction of the burial mounds.
I'm talking about it happening right now, though. That's my point. Is the element that we're in a perfect setup for it happening this episode, except that we'd have to time jump a couple of times because, we're dealing with Nevernight right now, but we still have to deal with the burning of the burial mounds. It seems to me that it was implied that it happens twice. It was the first burning of the burial mounds or something like that. I can't remember.
A siege that was first. He said that Lan Chan talks about the first siege of the burial mounds. So apparently they failed, and then in the second siege, that's when it happened.
It should also be next year. So no, it burned. It's burning. 25th year of the reign of Xuanzang, the year of Yi Yu. Wei Wuxian dies, killed by Jian Cheng, now leader of the Jiang clan. Wei Wuxian destroys the Stygian tiger amulet before he dies. Jiang Jin, Lan, and Ni clans burn the burial mounds to the ground. That is the notes from episode 1. Not notes from episode 1, that's the timeline that I have the notes from episode 1 from. So they specifically use the word burned. And that hasn't happened yet. As I've also indicated, it feels like it's supposed to be next year, because the 24th year is where the ambush happens, which is what we're dealing with the after effects right now of. Unless this is one of those Legend of the Galactic Heroes things, where last year was a month ago or something like that, and we just haven't told you.
Yeah.
Which tends to be the thing. Feels like the Lanzan and Wei Ying on the roof scene was a callback to a bunch of stuff. Your music doesn't work on me evokes the cave scene in my mind. Lanzan swiping at the flute evokes episode 2 when Wei Ying first summons back Wen Ning. Maybe it's my mind just trying to make connections.
I mean, it would be on theme, I guess. Yes, theme, to repeat that.
Well, we see Lanzan grasp at the flute in the future in episode 2, and then knowingly look at him, only to then later see him grasp at the flute back at Nevernight before everything goes down, and see his failure to do so there, so that we didn't see the importance of him knowing you have to grasp that flute with confidence.
Yeah, with both hands and never let go.
Well, he does. Let's go immediately.
Yeah. My next note is very, very short. Damn camera angle.
At first I forgot which thing happens, so I took a screenshot, and I took a screenshot of the Wen clan zombie swiping her across the back. And then there's legitimately no clue you could possibly get. I slowed it down, I looked at reflections and eyeballs. Tip of a sword is not enough. There's no clue there.
Yeah.
Although we know that is Ziswan's sword. We've seen that in other flashbacks.
Yeah.
So technically we don't need to... I mean, unless we start this episode up and it's the zombie of Ziswan stabbing Yanli back. Well, we know it's the sword. So how else is that sword going to be here?
I mean, the thing is, it can be the other person that should be holding the sword, which is his father, because then her brother would have tried to...
he's already got it. I would just...
Yeah.
Ziswan already had the sword, so it's not an issue of it not being passed down yet. Obviously, he's already dead, so it would have been already passed down.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Well, my next note's even shorter than that one. In that it's a bunch of empty space before I get to divergence from the novel section, so...
Okay, let me then finish my notes. I have 2 more. The image we saw before, it looked like Yang Li and Jin Zizhuan died at the same time, and that either Wuxian caused those deaths, which he kind of did, or witnessed who did it. We know that he saw who killed Yang Li, as did Yang Shen, but I guess Yang Shen still blames Wuxian for being the locus of what happened back then.
I mean, unless he's also the one who's responsible for it happening. He's one of my 3 primary suspects. Jian Shen. My primary suspects are literally the people you would suspect didn't do it. Lanzan, Jian Sheng, and some Wen clan member. So,
yeah. Some random dude. Yeah.
Well, like I said, the only people who have experience, well, it's either that or I guess random fourth person is someone we've never met before. Because again, that would be previous Diabolist, but the element is who was there to see the Talisman Circle, Jian Shang, Lan Zan, and all the Wen Clan members, which is also the pre-ending credits segment. Who was there to get your blood all the time? Wen Clan people. Shit,
And then my final note.
No, I'm not done yet. Sorry, man. No, I'm trying to remember back to the beginning of your notes. So I don't normally make noises lessons while I'm thinking. I'm just trying to signify to you that I'm trying to get to something here. You were bringing up the times that we'd seen Yan Li die in previous flashbacks. Those were clearly different segments. Because it very much seemed like Ziswan was alive during some of those. Blaming Wei Ying, and he dies first. So clearly they're just cutting different. They're the Disney trailer of death flashbacks. Some of this might not be true. I mean, it is all true. It just didn't happen in the way we saw it happen.
Which is the point of the note. And my final note. Well, they, wuxian and Lan Zan, figured it was a trap. The question now is, who set it up?
I mean, in fear it was a trap. They implied it was a trap. The difference therein is that fear of a trap, fear that it was a trap, would imply that they don't know. They're implying it's a trap because I believe they know. Or Lan Zan knows. Considering that, he sets up a little pattern and shows this is the incomplete symbols that would make up a thing. Although I think he's wrong. Not about it not being a trap, but he says it's not your fault for the entire amulet thing going out of control. Very much is his fault. Both at the road and at Nevernight.
Oh. I mean, he was carrying it. Unless he thought they was safer with him than being left back in...
Well, I mean, I'm very much on Jian Shang's side on this one. You said you could control it.
Yeah.
Well, he was wrong. He couldn't. So, it's on him. It's like if you were carrying a gat around, right? And you got a twitchy finger. Low blood sugar, whatever. And you start the gang shootout because of low blood sugar.
Yeah.
Is it your fault that your body has a hard time, ingesting or dealing with sugar? No, that's genetics. That's not on you. However, you should have the presence of mind to know, don't
keep your finger over the... Yeah,
don't pull out the gun and go.
Yeah.
All right. Divergence from the novel section. I did have to edit some of this. I don't know if it's spoilers. I'm assuming it was. But without context, I don't have the information to know if it's spoilers or not. But just in case, some of these have been edited. Episode 22 has a number of significant changes from the novel. Specifically, the animation keeps Wei Wuxian's arrival at Golden Carp Tower to see Yan Li, but he leaves before facing her. While in the novel, he flees after Madame Jin notices him and calls for help. The animation also cuts his subsequent torture of those gossiping and destroying him. Sorry, I added the word and. Torture of those gossiping about destroying him. So Golden Carp Tower is where she was mourning the death. Yeah. So, sorry, that's the element of spoilers that I was editing out. More references to Golden Carp Tower, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck that is. That sounds like spoilers. So I may have edited out non-spoilers, as it turns out, but whatever. In the novel, Wen Ning is already presumed burned to death by the time the Nightless City massacre. So Nevernight, I guess, is also referred to as Nightless City, which is the opposite of Nevernight would imply Nevernight. Whereas Nightless City, I guess never mind. Nightless City is...
It's the same thing, literally.
Yeah,
there's no
I was
night.
Just thinking...
It's always daytime. Nightless City means there's no nighttime, therefore it's always daytime.
I don't know, Lessons. For me, this is maybe a me thing. When I think of Nevernight, that's the Never Night almost feels like two distinctly different things, whereas Nightless City makes me think of like Cyberpunk, which is dark.
Yeah, but it's nightless, not Night City.
Yeah, Nightless again, Nevernight invokes to me a place where the sun never stops shining.
That never sets.
Whereas Nightless doesn't invoke that in my mind. It invokes in me a dark place that's constantly being lit up. Like a New York at night situation. Paris, the City of Lights.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, which is, I guess, evocative of actually what Nevernight is, because it's a dark place constantly lit up by braziers and whatnot. So, it just, again, for me, they evoke different things. Nevernight would be a place like the North Pole, right? North Pole most of the year. Or I guess Alaska most of the year. Though the novel implies that when Ning's attack at Golden Carp Tower was manipulated, no one manipulated the Yin Tiger tally at the Nightless City, and Wei Wusan's own loss of control was responsible for the death of Jin Zixuan.
Also known as the Stygian Tiger Amulet.
Right,
Again,
I
it
mean, we're
could be
just going back to the
translation,
element on the road. There was no manipulation there. Apparently, I said that there
Yeah.
was because we saw the darkness rising up from the ground and going towards it, which isn't of himself, typically.
Yeah.
When we see his resentment showing, it usually comes from him, like it does at the end
And
of the
also
episode when
that
Yan Li died.
it also happened when they say, oh, we cleared all the corpses here. You can't summon anything, and all of a sudden just stuff starts rising from the ground. It's like, oops. Apparently they didn't do a good job of it.
At the Nightless City massacre, Wei Wusan confronts the clans before killing an archer who attempts to shoot him. In revenge, the archer's brother attempts to kill Wei Wusan, but accidentally kills Jian Yan Li.
Instead of being the stabby as a archer.
Oh, yeah, and that implies also a definite person that we could point out of a crowd.
Yeah.
Not for
Mhm.
nothing, there is, at the start, when all the zombies start rising up, there's a guy who shouts, "Brother!" So,
Yeah.
could be that guy. We could still be going with that guy. Although Lan Wangji does acknowledge Wei Wusan's true identity in Guanghe, he neither needs to suppress the curse mark, nor does he hand him the clarity bell. After noticing with displeasure that Wei Wusan took Jin Ling's curse mark on himself, Lan Wangji calls out his birth name.
Very personal, very intimate.
I mean, we heard it in the episode. Although technically untrue. Mozan Yu would be his birth name.
Yeah. Just bringing out this at the person, not the body, I guess.
That's just a very confusing element of consciousness versus physicality. Like, Wei Wusan's birth name would obviously be whatever the fuck it is, but the element that you're the consciousness in another body. So,
Yeah.
are we talking about your original birth, or are we talking about your second birth of into Wei Wusan? In which case, that's that birth body's name. Or are we talking about the body's birth name? And I think we're already 2 out of 3 is Mozan Yu. The answer would be Mozan Yu.
All about priorities.
I mean, hell, there's also a mystery 4th option, which is to say, is Wei Wusan your name? Did Jiang Fangming give him that name, or did he have a previous name? Because we don't know how long he was a child by himself. Yeah, he might not know. He might have been abandoned before being given a name. In which case, that could be either a name that Jiang Fangming gave him, or a name he gave himself.
Yeah.
You know, a real Kenpachi situation from Bleach. They call me Zaraki Kenpachi. I am the Kenpachi. I come from the district Zaraki.
Yeah.
I didn't have a name before.
Yeah. They call me Mr. Fish.
There are those who call me Tim.
Yeah. Me.
Actually, the joke I was about to say was Mr. Pibb, because you were going Mr. names, but
yeah,
I just could not stop myself. All right, as I said before, we have comments, both of them from Sign Nominee, so I decided not to put which episode they come from, to really confuse myself in the future when I have to re-listen to this and put their comment in the part down below. I'm going to have to figure it out in future me. Ha ha! I'm a jerk to everyone. So, Sign Nominee says, from Mystery Episode, I will not stand for this fairy slander. She's a good girl. I also find Jin Ling's explanation of why she was Little Fairy, but had to be called just Fairy when she got bigger to be really cute. If you ever get the chance to check out the illustrations from the novel, check out the illustration for the blindfolded kiss between Wei Wusan and, I'm going to say Lanzan. It's iconic. LWJ. Obviously, you would know what that means because you call him these other names that I never bothered to learn. I'm only familiar with Wei Wusan because everyone's saying WWX. That's the porn website from the future. We're going to stop with all this 18 plus verification. We're just going to label all the porn websites WWX. All right, and the next one It is a bit confusing, but Wei Wuxian is on his way to meet his nephew, not the wedding. There was a bit of a time jump there. Wei Wuxian actually had to miss the wedding because he's a pariah, but he got to meet his sister in secret before the wedding, which gives us that nice post-credit scene.
Yeah, it always was very difficult. That just looked like a random village, small village somewhere. It was like,
No, that
what are
looked
you
like
doing here?
that looked like Lotus Cove.
No, it wasn't Lotus Cove.
I disagree because the walls in the background were the same walls that we saw when he first
It
goes
had the
there
walls.
after leaving.
Those were hills. They were in a little village in a valley among hills. That's
You
it.
know what lessons I've taken to doing this? I literally just got done the last episode that I did this for. Let's see, that was the end, right? The very end. Let me mute this so I don't have to adjust volume. No, I think you have a... Okay, lessons. This is like, I'm looking north and you're looking south. You're like, what are you talking about? This is all mountains. Lotus Cove is literally right behind them. And when the shot looks out over the pier with the direction the pier is looking, yeah, that's mountains and hills because that's mountains and hills.
No. That's not the meaning that he's talking about. The person is talking about.
Yeah, that is. You see the wedding gifts floating by because they're meeting before everything.
That happens in Lotus Cove. But I'm talking about the one where we were confused by the time jump, where we're like, oh, they're here, and then they go back and we see her in her wedding dress, and she's kind of turtling around, like, oh, hey, and I'm pregnant, and he gives her, and Wuxian gives her the name for her kid, right?
I'm pretty sure that happens in a building.
No, that happens outdoors in a little village.
Obviously, I'm less likely to remember that one than the one I'm looking at right now.
No, they're just talking, and then and she's like, "Oh, we have a bunch of kids," and she kind of blushes, and it's like, "We don't," it's like, "Oh," and he gets
Unfamiliar lessons. That's the one I'm referring to.
Yeah,
the one that involves both mountains and hills and Lotus Cove.
Yeah, no, I was talking about the one where there's the little village, kind of fishing village. Well, not really. Like 3 or 4 houses.
As I just said, I do not remember. I remember the dancing thing because it happens in every opening, and we directly reference that.
She's literally wearing her wedding gown.
As I said, I'm talking about the background, the thing that we're literally arguing about. I do not remember, but the fact that we're also referring to 2 different scenes.
Yeah.
So I guess technically we can both be right. But the scene I'm talking about, I am 100% correct. It's on screen right now. For the scene that you're talking about, I don't remember, so I can't argue.
Is that it for the notes? For the comments?
I said 2. I read 2.
Okay, then. I think it's time to get into it, then.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button.
Hit that subscribe button.
Comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this,
unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
And as always, we still have to talk over this lesson, no matter how much you want to bop your head around.
I mean, I like this intro and the music. It's just that the Chinese version is better. This one is okay. This one is better.
I mean, to be fair, you've heard this one several times now. You've heard the Chinese one once.
This would be 8 times.
I said several, not 7.
Well, yeah. Actually, 6. It'll be 16 times by the time we're done with this season. Yes, we see it once, and then we go back for notes. So each time, if I listen to the whole thing every single time...
You're talking about in... I'm only referring to here, but you and me.
That'll be 8 times with this one, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, because it sounded like you were combining everything from episode 1 to now, and it was like, we've done multiple openings now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just, by the way, there was buildings behind her in that shot.
Yeah, but that was not Lotus Cove.
You're saying that, Lessons. You're saying
I do. Of course I did.
You want to argue? You want to argue that you're saying that? That's all I said, Lessons. I said you're saying that.
Yes, I am.
You're adding some sort of twang to your voice there, like you're not saying that.
The truth.
所以穷奇道不为天成书签修士金子炫，还有
No, half of those, yeah, half of those are because you lost control. I'm only sugarcoating it because I love you. I mean, Wen Ning, obviously.
Yeah. Alive or dead though?
Oh, he's already dead. He's been dead for a long time.
Oh, I don't think that was Wen Ning. It didn't look like he had the.
Well, it's either that or it's Lin Jin. But I'm saying if it's Wen Ning's been dead forever. So
Yeah.
禀二位宗主，我家宗主有消息了。
Yiho-san?
自行路岭开始，便一直尾随我们的。可是聂宗主，
真的不是我呀，汉光君，我今天刚经过行路岭，就被那灵犬给扑倒了。真没去过。
Oh
he
yeah,
was,
remember the dog?
he was leaning forwards in a weird way. I was like, oh, did the thing attach it to his arm? To steal his arm?
哎，我的扇子，还以为找不回来了。太感谢了，汉光君。在哪儿寻到的？
石堡外。
我只是跟着你和这位公子去的。
Has he been co-opted by the Diabolists or Spy Master? Or was he the third guy in the flashback?
那我来说，看看你会不会听着听着就知道了。吃人堡的传说中，凡误闯者，骨头渣子都不剩。既没留下活口，那又是怎么知道他们是被吃了呢？显然，这是
How do you know the stories about the Black Pearl?
Yeah.
行路岭上的迷阵非常精妙，如若没有擅长寻踪秘籍的灵兽，除非有寒光君这般修为，否则只能原地打转。石堡本身无门无窗，密不透风，且设有禁制，没有上品法器，极难攻克。吃人堡传说、迷阵和禁制三重防线，为的就是不让人靠近行路岭，防止堡内的秘密被人发现。
But so far, it's just been a sword in the coffin.
刀风尸数千。聂宗主，今日你若不在这里说清楚，只怕日后捅出去了，到时候你要说，也没人肯听了。
韩光君，还有这位公子，你们能不能发个誓？接下来无论我说什么，你们都千万不能传出去。
Swear to me.
如你所愿。
听韩光君的。
Again, I think he might be the third guy. In which case, horrible person to bring into your secret.
Yeah.
根本不是什么吃人堡，那是我家的祭刀堂。
祭刀堂。
I mean, that's a little bit less interesting now, though. It's not some 1,000-year-old thing. It's just part of their clan's
暂
thing.
未发现墓穴语，后贵家越强纵。
继续搜，生要见人，死要见尸。
I appreciate Jian Cheng doing the confirm they're dead thing.
Yeah.
I don't care what you have to do. Show me a body.
韩光君，这大晚上的，你们去我家祭刀堂干什么呀？
有事尚需处理。
聂宗主，你家祭刀为什么要杀数千人来祭？
不是，韩光君，你听我解释，那些尸体不是我们杀的。
Why didn't you explain this back where we were?
搜罗来的。
巨尸为何？
为了朕作祟的刀灵啊！
愿闻其详。
你们也知道，我们清河聂氏先祖是屠夫出身，修的是刀道。
I feel like we have heard that before.
的路数。
Back in early season 1.
一折，聂家历代家主都是走火入魔、暴血横死，家主们的刀、戾气和杀气也都极重。
哦，难怪聂宗主你配扇不配刀呢。
刀灵只认一主，主人在时尚能压制，主人一死，
Yeah, we saw a blade, didn't we?
Since that's what I just said when I said it was a coffin.
既然刀灵想与邪祟争斗， 以下便将怨灵凶师与
Sounds like a very specific arc of
让他们争
Bleach.
斗不休。
The Zanpakuto Freedom Arc or whatever the fuck it was called.
正是如此，第6代宗主靠着这法子，才使我们家安生了几百年。可就在10年前吧，不知哪来的一伙盗墓贼，听说了石宝的事，硬把我家祭刀堂误会成了得道仙人大墓，生生炸进了宝去。我那时刚继任家主，带人来查看，可诡异的是，整整几十个人，居然凭空消失了。
哪有什么凭空消失？他们定然破坏了尸体，打破了堡内原有的平衡。你家祭刀堂只好将他们困在墓中，填补空缺了。
莫公子，你懂得可真多。
所以
Oh, you haven't figured out who he is?
你便放出了吃人堡的消息。
不，那是镇上传出
But
的。
clearly they broke in, but they didn't succeed. I guess they must have been pulled into the walls like everybody else because the sword was still
他
there.
在堡内，那些血迹却在堡外。
How did we not notice before?
Yeah.
你们怎么了？和10年前一样。
尸体被融了。啊？
那是我家子弟的衣袍。金小公子乍动，我派了好些弟子寻了新的尸体过来封入。
I mean, this is another fucking lair. You can get possessed by swords now, too.
怀苍山的死士
Is he going to be one of the guys we learned about from 1,000 years ago is now possessing somebody who's now enacting a plan that they've made 1,000 years ago?
Maybe.
“这笛子用的虽然还不太顺手，但是解决你们这几个小喽啰，还是绰绰有余的。”上！
Of course, there's always the idea that these could be the good guys.
哇，莫公子，你还真是深藏不露啊！
Real slow swords, these.
Yeah.
Time to gasp, turn around, notice them coming, slowly move out of the way.
Is he he could be pretending all
ice
this
guy,
time
isn't it?
that he was.
No, okay, never mind.
怀桑，怎么回事？这
The sword looked like the dancing ice sword guy's sword.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's dead. I don't know why I thought it was him. Unless that is the same sword, and Zishan is being controlled by it.
Could be.
Again, now that we've introduced this element, every person I see is going to be, is that the guy, or...
这人功力虽不及蓝真一二，但似乎很熟悉姑苏蓝氏的伎俩。
So possibly a Lan clan member.
前阵。
Thought I was going to rip the face mask off of him.
Yeah.
Or it did? No, it didn't.
千疮百孔，施咒痕。
Cool, right now I have no idea what the fuck that means to anything.
这是，蓝湛明明压下去了，怎么突然？鬼手，恶族很有反应，金领冲撞的邪物。
We saw it was hanging around the area before, but was it attached to one of these guys?
Okay, there's
Yeah.
a lot of happening. It's like this guy show up and he's stealing this and da.
My problem is that so much of it seems like revelation, but none of the revelation in my mind connects to anything.
上身都查过了，没有缺少左臂的尸身。不应该啊，可是掘错了地方。
正是金陵被埋处，方才进宝，黑衣人也正在此处起尸。
Wait, oh, when he was buried in the wall. Like, when the fuck did
Yeah.
Jin Ling die?
得罪了。
这
Checking the arms? Yeah. See, what else could he have been doing? Every time, I think it's the end of the episode. I don't know how much time is left. We still have half an episode left. I don't know why I keep thinking it's the end of the episode.
除大半，再服以此丹药，半月便可痊愈。多谢蓝宗主。
不用太过担心，怀萨。这边的事，我与你二哥会帮你处理的。
谢谢，三哥。这座祭刀塔
三哥
是我大哥的，没想到。
Yeah, it's Mao Yang.
忘记。接下来你如何打算？
尽快查明鬼手主人及分尸碎魂祸首身份。
那些黑衣死士训练有素，手段歹毒，若不早日查清，恐成玄门大患。
韩光君，黑衣死士背后势力难测，我还是派些人手来助你吧。
多谢金宗主，不过暂时不用。若遇难处，我会向瞭望台请援。
也好。
You know, since you're building so many of them.
早听闻你已改修轨道，
Unless the watchtowers serve another
你
purpose
便跟着韩光君好生学着吧。
or being compromised in some way.
他与莫玄羽应是熟识。
Got no hints of that yet.
少说少错，少说少错。是。
事不宜迟，我们先行告辞。
I bet those two also already figured it out who he is. Or suspect at least.
居然借助刀灵和寻常尸身双重镇杀，要是有恶祖痕，怕是永远也找不到这双腿。手段真高啊！11年前怀苍山分尸碎魂事业，第2年祭刀堂出事，时间刚好合上。那伙盗墓贼多半是正撞见了黑衣死尸镇尸，像今晚清河聂氏子弟的遭遇一样，尸身被熔，仅留几滩血迹。还有，更重要的。
We're being followed. No? Okay, never mind.
整整14年，终于出现了。
那人很熟悉姑苏蓝氏的剑法，
且还在剑上设了掩饰，怕我们认出他的剑。大战，他是不是一个你很熟悉的人？
不是。
那就更复杂了。之前我探查温宁的记忆。
Unfortunately, the only Lan clan member who has a sword that I think we would recognize is Lanzan. So he's got what was it, Dustless?
不过关于金光山，
不夜天成时，温宁并未失控。
那时金光善一心想剿灭你，但有云梦江氏力保，且我兄长与聂宗主也认为。 应先查明千疮百孔真相，
所以，他便借了温宁之手，令我与姑苏蓝氏、清河聂氏结缘。真是打得一手好算盘的金光善。
Again, the guy that we saw was wearing Jin colors.
金光善吗？
没有证据，但并不排除此可能。
没有证据啊！哎，想我死的人那么多，还真不好查了。
Yeah, but think about things from their perspective. How annoying it is that you fucking came back.
回应。
It looked like he was gonna take his clothes
Yeah.
off. I was like, wait, yeah. He was like, what? What are you,
They get
what are you
Brokeback
doing?
Mountain up in here.
Yeah, well.
我知道，你已尽力。
是啊，错已铸成，再追回也没有用。不过好在，如今并不是全无线索，至少能用线蛇金属将我召回的幕后之人，必然知道全部真相。
But I said, I brought that up way before. Mozan Yu has to have known more than just
或许
seeking
解
revenge.
开了鬼手主人的身份之谜，一
Oh, I
切
thought that was Yao for a second.
可迎刃而解了。 这个方向是
The Golden Corral? What are we looking at?
Maybe. King?
啊，除了驱魂印，也只招来了一丝残魂，就指了个西边，范围那么大，怎么找啊？
一路问灵，总能寻到的。
听说没？
I think you'll find the entire world lies to the west.
今早我瞧见好些兰陵金氏和姑苏兰氏的子弟进了陵，定是聂家那一问三不知又求助了吧？啊，这么大阵仗，难道是夷陵老祖回来了？
Why would you suspect that of Traverse Hill?
瞎胡扯！那夷陵老祖被万鬼反噬而死，要回来早回来。
回应，啊，有一事，我至今不明。
还有你寒光君不明白的，嘿，快快讲出来让我见识见识。
世人皆传，你是被万鬼反噬，身亡命陨。
I mean, that would make sure that they didn't get any evidence of you.
并不是。
The other bit from the opening.
Yeah.
死便死了，怎么个死法？又有什么所谓呢？
回应，
哎，拨浪鼓，
It must have been a death that he was present
不知道
for.
为什么，我可喜欢这耍货呢。
You know, like not a surprise death, because otherwise, how would you know, right? What happened to you?
Yeah.
来这，来
He
这
could have been he committed
送
suicide.
我一个呗。
I just mean like, if he got stabbed to the chest and he looks down and it's like, I see the sword, and then at least he would know, I got stabbed. That's how I died. Versus someone came up behind him, slit his throat, and then like crushed his head or whatever.
Also, they met before.
I don't know. For a minute there, I thought they were trying to hide his face with the beam of light. I don't know. I'm never a fan of that sort of thing.
The childhood romance thing?
Well, no, I'm not a fan of childhood romance either, Lessons, but the element of, when they do something like Superman's been popular for fucking ever, then they go back and do Smallville, and then everyone just knew each other back when they were teenagers too. It's like
okay, yeah.
when we backfill their past, it's like, isn't the first time you met Lex Luthor when you went to Metropolis for the first time? No, actually, turns out I fucking knew him all throughout high school. You know, like yeah.
I mean, that's not unique to Smallville. That goes all the way back when Superboy was introduced in the 1950s, where he knew everybody.
Well, that's different. Depends on what version of Superboy you're talking about. There is the clone Superboy that is.
Yeah, but that's in the 90s. I'm talking about the 1950s in the Silver Age.
No, the original Superboy was also a clone. An original old school comics Superboy, not Death and Return of Superman Superboy. Old school Superboy was also a clone, or one of. There are still multiple. There's a multiverse of this shit.
He was literally just younger Superman.
There is a Superboy that is younger Superman, and there's also a clone of that is not Death and Return of Superman Superboy, that is also Superboy.
Yeah.
And I'm talking like 70s? Not like 90s. I know we're both... Oh, hold on. Getting a lot of end credit stuff these days.
Yeah.
I guess he didn't know, but now he does.
来着，你看，这里也有。
并非凶事，一剑毙命。
Ah, the ice. Ice sword is still a thing.
双花剑痕。
I think I'm right.
E City.
I also like the inclusion of the guitar. That's a good touch. Zishin? Zishen? Am I right? I'm not right. Snaggletooth, son of a bitch.
Yeah. Still look at a very sinister smile there, so... Yeah.
Well, for a second, again, the thing I said before, I thought Zishen had a sword that looked a lot like the ice sword that we saw in the other flashback, so I thought Zishen was being controlled by Zhao. Because, not for also nothing, whatever the fuck I meant to say by that. The element that Zishen went missing for a long time after Guso got burned to the ground by Wen Chao's older brother. His name escapes me.
Yeah.
The element that he may have been looking for a place to hide all the knowledge, encountered the resting place of that sword, then was taken control by it. That was the thought process going through my head. It's like, this works as a narrative, but apparently not, unless that was the Clark Kent thing there. That is that is the Zishen.
Oh wait, isn't it supposed to be the master? No, it's supposed to be blind.
There's nobody that we know that's blind.
In the mountain, right? You have to go in and you cover your eyes and you can't talk to the masters.
There's nobody that we know that's blind. We've not seen any of those people before, and I don't recall any time them ever being referred to as blind. Wanderer is their title. It's not Blind Wanderer. I would have written that down. It's just Wanderer.
Yeah.
I just know, because we've gone over the plenty of times, why do the Wanderers have a home?
So they can wander to and fro, I guess.
So yeah, no idea who the hell this is. Also, Zishen doesn't have a snaggletooth. I can't remember a character that we've seen before that has a snaggletooth.
Yeah. But apparently he knows them. Or at least by his voice and nothing else, because he's blind, so.
Gonna have to go back over it. I mean, legitimately, no clue.
Or as always, we'll have to go and see. Yeah, so I guess it's one of those things. Well, now, I suspected that we were going to get all the answers now, and then the next season was going to be, okay, now we have to deal with the problem. I guess we're going to have to continue with the exploration of the mystery, right?
Well,
And
this
then at
is
the end
the bad guys taking action.
Yeah.
Before now, the implication was that there was a force working against us. Or there was in the past, and there was no real indication other than Spy Master spying that there was anything happening in the present. Because just being watched is not itself significant in the realm of bad guys doing stuff. Now bad guys are doing stuff, so...
Yeah, removing bodies, fighting these guys, yeah. And apparently they all, one or more of them, have the curse on them.
Oh, yeah, sorry, the curse. I thought you were indicating towards the arm, because we saw all the dead bodies that had stitched up arms. And as Nihon Song points out, those are all Mi Clan members.
Yeah.
Which I guess indicates that they've all been possessed at one time or another by the arm.
Maybe.
I don't know why else you'd have your arm cut off and then sewed on. A new arm sewed on.
Yeah.
Being the element that we know that those are Ni clan members, which means infiltration of the Ni clan, or...
Yeah. Yeah, whoever's really doing this is more on the work within the clan scenario and do their thing rather than...
Well, we got the past version, which was a Jin clan member doing shit, or somebody dressed up as a Jin clan member doing shit. And now we have this person really knows Lan clan stuff. So was that a Lan clan member dressed up as a Jin member in the past, or were they just completely separate people? Is the indication supposed to be that all these masked people are part of a greater organization? I mean, that's not a suggestion, that is the truth, but the element, or was the person from the past and the Lan clan member here in the present just part of that organization and not individually important? Am I supposed to be keeping track of one important character from past to present, or are these just the indications of an organization that I don't need to keep track of individuals for?
Yeah, a secret clan of sorts. I mean, that would work. You know, you have your own clan that is made up of members that you recruited from other clans, right? And it's a spy network.
Or,
Kinda.
shot in the dark, are they all part of the Wen clan?
Oh, so as the Wen clan fell, the
survivors that Wei Ying saved survived the burning of the burial mounds and formed their own clan again, just without any stuff. Like, we went underground because everyone fucking hates us and wants to kill us.
Yeah.
So this is now the Wen clan. This is what the Wen clan became. I don't know. Just throwing shit at the wall, right? The idea, if you have a theory and you don't say it, and then you only say it after it happens, I always knew. Bullshit is what people are going to say. Bullshit. You didn't say it before. You only said it after. It's like that Douglas Adams quote. I could have thought of that, is very telling because you didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. The mystery continues. That's for sure.
Problem is, I don't know if it's a mystery. So the element is that we're being presented with stuff across. Again, if we were watching this in chronological order to the stuff happening, I'm sure none of this would be a mystery.
True.
Doing it in the Memento fashion is the only thing that makes it a mystery. Again, there would be no mystery in Memento if you just saw stuff happening.
Yeah.
But in this case, we don't have that perspective thing. I mean, not the perspective. The problems that he has in that movie are not our perspective problems. Our perspective problems are just the direction of the storyboarding, you know? Because conceivably, Wei Ying doesn't have these problems. We don't know that Wei Ying doesn't know or does know things. He could be holding stuff back from us. Yeah. He could just be an unreliable narrator. And then Lan Zhan is putting shit together, or Lan Zhan knows everything. I mean, the element is that Lan Zhan was also here for the entire time span.
Yeah.
Really, I feel like if you were to remake this with the normal, I don't know what to call it, normal narrative stuff for shows, you would have Jinling be your main character. And then you would go to flashbacks for what happened in the past, not for what Jinling knows, but for, us to see what Wei Ying might be referencing when he says something, or Lan Zhan says something, and we go to a flashback of that. But otherwise, we mainly deal with the Jinling's perspective of what he knows happened, so that then he would get reveals about like what happened to his parents, or this Wei Wuxian character that he grew up hating turns out to really be like.
I do find one thing interesting. He goes to Mo's house, right? Or what's left of it, because it's been abandoned and all that. And he sees a bunch of stuff, including the spells and whatnot. And then he looks at the sword. It was Wuxian's sword black or...
No.
What?
Also, I don't think that was Mo's house.
No.
We've never seen Mo's house. We've seen the, sorry, you're saying Mo's house. Are you mean Mozan Yu's place, or do you just mean the Mo compound?
No, we see the Mo compound.
That's what I'm saying. We've never seen Mozan Yu's place. We saw the place where he summoned Wei Ying, and then the implication of that he had a place that was filled with magic shit that the other guy kept robbing. But we've never seen his place, and I don't know. The element is that place looked like disheveled and ruined.
Well, the entire village was destroyed.
The entire
by
village
the
wasn't
arm.
destroyed, as far as we know. They came in and
Or
they
maybe-
saved they locked down the arm, or no, they ran off the arm and they destroyed the undead that were there. But there was still like a whole village outside. We saw Wei
Well, it
Ying
could
in
be-
what was on
it
Yu's
could be
body
the,
riding down with Apple and everything, and there was just people up
Yeah.
and down the road. Like, I don't think that
It
whole
could
place
be
got
the
destroyed. We never
Mo.
heard
It
about
could be
it.
the Mo family's compound that was abandoned because everybody there got killed. Because it could be a larger compound, right? And that was Mo Sanju's quarters inside the compound.
I just don't think that was it. I mean, it could be. I'm just, in my opinion, I don't think so. I think that looked more like Guso. So could lean back into my theory that this is still Lanzan's doing.
Unlikely.
When I'm referring to Wei Ying being back and everything like that. The element that, again, it seemed very reminiscent to me of, remember that place where Wei Ying was getting punished, that he had to stay and copy up the rule book like 3 times, and then Lanzan stayed with him there. That looked like that place. And in which case, if I was already thinking that Lanzan may have become super obsessed, then why wouldn't he have just holed himself up there and studied all of these things? Have a little shrine collection to Wei Ying, including his sword, which Wei Ying's sword wasn't black. It was normal looking. Like, I don't know what to call it. Well, wait. No, I think you're thinking of the sword thing that he pulled out of the snake
leg.
dragon.
Yeah,
Whatever.
rusted out sword.
Whatever was not black. Whatever was just a normal
No,
sword.
whatever was black. Because that sword basically, the only thing that was important was that it contained the Stygian tiger amulet.
Right. It was also like coated with rocks and shit. So I mean, that wouldn't be unmistakable if that one showed back up.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, to me that's like Guso. That could have been that little retreat area or that little discipline area filled with Lanzan's notes and whatnot.
There you have it. I really have nothing more to say.
All right. Well, once again, I have been Theta. This has been Lessons. We've been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?